Yo, what's up guys? My name is Kiro SA and I'm back again with another sample. Before we start, you already know it's advert time. My brand new sample pack titled Something Nice is out right now. If you are interested in purchasing the sample pack or my other sample packs, the links are in the description of this video. And with that said, let's get back to business. The first thing I started with, as I usually do with my samples, is the chord progression. And for this sample I used a Spitfire Labs soft piano, and it sounds like this. So the key of this sample is D major, and there is only two main chords in the sample. The other chords are just there to serve as passing chords to return back to the main chords. And the first chord I used is a E minor 9 chord. I used a rootless voicing, meaning there is no root notes in this chord. And one thing you should keep in mind is that if you're going to use a rootless voicing, your bass should play the root note so that you don't get confused as to what chord you are playing. So the voicing for this E minor 9 chord is I started with the 3rd and the 5th. I then followed with the 7th and the 9th. The two passing notes I used to get to the second main chord are the notes B and A, as they resolve nicely to the top note of the second chord. The second chord is a D major 9 chord, and it's also a rootless voicing. So I started with the 3rd and the 5th. I then followed with the 7th and the 9th. I then ended by repeating the 3rd again on top of the chord. The passing notes I used to get to the first chord again is I used the 5th of the D major chord on top of the chord. And regarding the two passing chords I spoke about in the beginning, they are at the end of the chord progression, and the first passing chord is a F sharp diminished 7, and I voiced it starting with the root and the 3rd. I then followed with the 5th and the 7th. I then repeated the root notes and the 3rd so that it can lead me to the second passing chord, and the second passing chord is a B dominant 7. The voicing I used is I started with the 3rd of the dominant chord as well as the 7th. I then followed with the 5th and the root notes on top. And just like the previous video I posted, how I knew that these two passing chords would work is I went into the E minor harmonic scale, because it's the cousin scale of the first chord I used, which is the E minor 9. And in this E minor harmonic scale, I played the 2 chord as well as the 5 chord to go back to the E minor 9. And moving on, I added a bass from Modo Bass as well as a wah bass that I made by using a wah plugin, and the bass sounds like this. And the bass is mostly playing the root notes of the piano chords, as I stated the reason in the beginning of the video. I then also used passing notes to go between the root notes and also to create rhythm. And for the passing notes, I used whole tones as well as half tone intervals. And after that, I added a vibraphone from Xenology as well as a guitar also from Xenology playing the melody. And the funny thing is, I heard the melody play in my head when I was done with the chord progression. And I even did a voice recording of myself, and this is how it sounds like. I then programmed one-shot drums, and the drum fill I programmed is from a plugin called Prototype Drums, and the drums sound like this. And for the second section, I layered the vibraphone with a clavinet, also from Xenology, and it sounds like this. And the last instruments I added was the horn section. And for the horn section, I used a set of 2 horns from Sinful Orchestra, as well as a horn from Xenology. And 2 of the horns are playing the melody, and the other is playing the harmony. And together they sound like this. And for the master section, I added an invisible limiter to boost the volume. And a quick recap before I play you the final sample is what you need to make a 70s soul sample is you need a piano, a bass guitar, a clavinet, a vibraphone, a guitar, a horn section, and lastly, drums. And with that said, let me play you the final sample, and the final sample sounds like this.